Good afternoon, members. Welcome back for a third technical session on audit of digital banking operations. For this, we have renowned speaker CA R. Vittalraj sir, all the way from Chennai. I request CA Vishwas sir to please escort today's technical session speaker and present him with a floral bouquet. Before we start the third technical sessions, a couple of announcements. On 23rd, we have physical session on hands-on training on Excel for bank branch audits in Racecourse Road. Registration is already started. And we have 4 days workshop on bank branch audit from 25th to 29th for members. That is purely virtual program. And for students also, the same period, 25th to 29th, we have 4 days workshop on bank branch audit for students also. I request all of you to make use of this opportunity. So to introduce CAR Vittalraj sir. Vittal is a risk assurance and cybersecurity controls professional and trainer with over 25 years of experience working with clients in a wide range of industry verticals on IT governance, cybersecurity, privacy, IT assurance, enterprise risk management, and risk-based internal audits. He is a FCA, CISA, CIA, CISSP, CGEIT, CISM, CRISC, and CFE. He is a member of RBI Standing Committee for Cybersecurity and IT Examination and a member of IRDA Information Security Group. He has earlier served for 2 terms as International Vice President and Director on International Board of ISACA IL USA and was awarded with the President's Award and Certificate of Appreciation for Outstanding Contribution during this term as Director. He also served on research and technical committees of ICAI India, IIA Florida, ISACA International, ICWA, GC member of MCCI. He is a founder and senior partner of Mrs. Kumar and Raj Chartered Accountants, leads and manages the information and strategic risk assurance services practice across diverse business verticals since last over 3 decades. With this brief introduction, I welcome once again Vittalraj sir for today's session, and over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon to you all. Am I audible? Thank you, sir, for the kind introduction. It's indeed always a pleasure to be here in Bangalore chapter for the session in bank audit especially. I would like to thank Mr. Shetty and the management here, especially Madam. She has been making sure that I'm here. So I was slightly doubtful of yesterday not traveling due to some feverish condition. These days you don't know which fever to take what. So I was informing her what is a plan B. We say, anyway, don't worry, this virtual is there. So I know that you are all here after a very good lunch. So this is worse than COVID test torture. Coming and sitting, one is post-lunch topic. So you cannot have, it is like double torture. And thanks to RBI, they have made this torture now kind of official, because the new, as you might know, LFAR has been amended after 1983. Right? So you can imagine where we are going. And this time it has been a very comprehensive revision of the LFAR. I don't know how many of you have an opportunity to look through the details of LFAR. Of course, I'm a good amount of detail, but let me see. The technology makes it melt. Yeah. Okay. So I have a challenge of being given 1 hour because I have to catch my flight after that. So I'll try to do my best. But the very idea of this session is not to take you through each and everything of the slides here. All of us are reasonably conversant with the bank's environment. But the most important thing is we have come to a situation now wherein I think without auditing through the system, we are going to have a very high audit risk. I think I'm sure all of us recognize the LFAR is only accentuated that because there are now specific requirements in LFAR on system configuration, system integration. In fact, fortunately, they have removed some of the highly technical items like is there a backup in the branch? That is a good fortune in a way. Because otherwise, where will you, go and find out whether the backup of the branch is there or not? Because the manager is clueless. He says everything is head office. That's all. Right. It's gone. I think I'll go there and present. Don't worry. Old techniques work except in bank audit now. Okay. This is from the preamble of the direction from RBI for the new LFAR. Please see what it says. And I think we must have a lot of attention to what it says. Number one, it says that the overall objective of the branch audit is transaction testing. They made it clear. Obviously, we know that we are testing, large transactions and taking sample of transactions and testing them. But then please see the next line. It has accentuated on the need for the branch auditor to communicate with the central statutory auditors. In fact, it says provide inputs to the central statutory auditors on, please see these words carefully, adequacy of implementation of various policy and regulatory requirements at the branch level. Now, we'll come to that, how we can do that. 2, including efficacy of systems, assurance functions, in bracket, they said risk management, compliance, and internal audit at the branch level. So you can see that the auditor, unless and until he completely understands, as Mr. Gupta was also saying, within the matter of that, how much so ever you are lucky to get that time, you have to look at all this. Then please go to the next one. It becomes more emphatic. It says verification of data integrity and data related control systems and processes should be carried out and commented upon. This is the first time they have included something like this in the LFAR. In fact, I'm only happy in one way because I used to be highlighting this, that they are not including relevant things. They made it very, very relevant. But then as usual, the language is so 40,000 that tomorrow they can catch on anything that you did not do. Right? Then with special thrust, those data inputs which are to be used for MIS at corporate office level and for supervisory reporting purposes. So they are also making you do little bit of corporate office function. So I think we are now entering a completely new phase in bank audit, which has become very clear now with this LFAR. And this is something which I put up 2 years back. I think this has become a reality. If you don't change with the time will change you. And that's what LFAR has done now. I said, please do system audit, please do system audit, please do this. They said, now you do system audit. So we have no choice now. So you will have to excuse me because I have a lot of slides, but the intent is not to take you through those slides. I will certainly take the important key aspects which we must understand. I know that we would have a lot of senior professionals who are here who have been doing bank audits, like Gupta sir, who has been doing for ages. He understands the in and out of banks. There are also youngsters on the other end who are very tech savvy, who understand how to go about the tech in an audit, which is very appreciable. I think their clan has to grow. There is also the in-betweens, somewhat also like me, because I'm also one of the in-betweens. That's how I started off, to say, okay, this is system, that's all I know. If somebody tells me, okay, you enter this, I will do that. Beyond that, I don't know what to do with that. Because especially with the Finacle screen, first time if you have seen that, anything that you put there, it returns an error. Have you seen that? Unless and until you know what to press. You have to press F4. Then only you will know, oh, okay, now the screen comes. Because we'll keep on pressing. We are used to enter, no? Enter is the most, enter and escape. These are two things in life. Either you enter into that or escape from it. Right? So that is what unfortunately we are used to, but branch audit is teaching us different things. While there will be a lot of little bit of jargons I will be using here, but mind you, it is not a system audit session here. It is absolutely something which is relevant to your CBS audit. Very important how to go about planning and how to go about using the very computerized environment for our audit. And the first thing that comes up is, I always say that if you do not know something, obviously you cannot audit it. Yes or no? Tomorrow morning, let us say they call you and say, here is audit of NSE rolling settlement system. How many of you are okay to take it? Fees 1 crore. Take it. So unfortunately, those days are going away because the government is first looking at anything wrong happening, who is the auditor? You forget about the management also. So we have to be very, very cautious. So very important that unless and until we understand the technology that drives banking today, let us please be clear. I am sure all of you, whether you use it or not, have a mobile banking app? You or your family? Yes? Yes or no? Okay. If you have not got it, please do at least download it. Or somebody else will use your app for your account. Right? Then you find the money there. So everything is now digital banking. Right? Now this word digital is a very, very loose word. The very simple idea is everything goes into systems and internet, obviously through the computing technology. Right? I'm sure we can never forget this as auditors. Punjab National Bank, the kind of volume of fraud and how it was perpetrated and how, RBI had taken quite cognizance of the fact that everything failed there, concurrent audit failed, internal audit failed, RBI inspection to a great extent failed. Of course, statutory audit failed. Because we're doing audit year on year, and nobody really pointed that out. Now the question then becomes, a very important question is, was the auditor negligent then? Well, if you really look at it, the auditor actually did his best, but his techniques were not up to mark. And that's exactly where he is now classified as negligent. So I think we are in times when things like this, if you really look at the investigations and how this fraud was put through, I don't want to go into the details of this. So completely system bypassed fraud. Completely system bypassed fraud. Right? The way that one person was able to, gain was something which was phenomenal, and how it could go on. I mean, we are not some numbers. Look at this, 1,200 LOUs put by this Gokulnath Shetty. And he has been rest assured of his post there since how many years? God knows. He never had a change of post. No transfers, nothing. He was in that position permanently because Nirav Modi made sure he will be there. Right? Look at the system, the SWIFT system was not integrated. And it also highlighted the fact that everybody was checking on financial messaging system. Non-financial messages were never checked. And this fellow was playing a typical, what we used to read on our inter material, which is kiting frauds, teaming and leading frauds. So that's exactly what he was doing. And it was very successful that way he did it. Because imagine he has hoodwinked so many. So this points to the fact, this is just an example to say, if we miss the system, then we could be in deep trouble. So I think that is where it's a kind of a warning signal. So now let us get into understanding how this branch audit works. So first of all, let us please understand, you might have been used to the traditional ways of doing audit. I know many of you already moved into the system space, but there are yet many of us, especially veterans, who are not very comfortable with the system unless I get a printout in my hand. I don't have, my Atma will not, sleep that day that I have audited, isn't it? See, many of us, you said today everything is digital. Your kids, they don't carry a rupee in their pocket, yes? Because everything is Google Pay, GPay, that pay, this pay, yes? But for people like us, that is Mahalakshmi, no? Unless and until we touch it with the hand, we don't get the satisfaction, right? So this is the Jenner problem. So that's what I'm saying. Today, if you are really looking at it, the bank audit has now become a Jenner problem. And unless and until we migrate to this Jenner, we could be having very serious, challenges to in profession. I know these are heavy words, but I'm telling you, I've been saying this last 7 years. I was saying, Sulesh, every time bank audits will go away. I think Gupta Sarji also said it today. Bank audits are sure to go away. Now, you may say this guy is a villain. I know I'm a villain, what to do? But the point really is, how many of you read about a Rajkot-based chartered accountant joining hands with an IIT Kharagpur engineer and coming out with an iAudit software? It did a bank audit for 3 months in 30 seconds. Yes? You read that? How many days do we take to do the audit? Now, what it did and all, we'll see. But a start has been made wherein artificial intelligence, robotic process automation, along with machine learning, is going to completely change the way we look at transaction audit. That is for sure. It is only a question of time. Because very simple, today you order your Alexa to do so many things, yes or no? Alexa can today create a bank transaction for you, yes? Tomorrow, the same thing we'll be doing with conversational systems at banks. So this is going to happen. Only good thing is it is not going to happen tomorrow morning. So we'll have some time to use this bank audit environment to become system auditors. That's what I would think. It's a very good place for test ride, right? Because once you get the appointment and till you sign, the bank manager will listen to you, yes or no? The day you sign, anyway, he's already gone on a holiday by that time, right? And then nobody cares for you. Try to get one record after that date. I'm sure you experienced that, right? So the point really is, please understand, today we are on top. That's where we are doing. What are we doing? We are looking at a branch audit, typically called as a balance sheet audit. But where does the figures come from? Where does the financial statement really get generated? So that is a question you have to ask. If you went 20 years back, the financial statements were generated through books which are transparent to us. You could move the page, you could see that entry, somebody tampers it, we know it is tampered. Today, they show you one screen. Before you can even understand what is happening with the screen, there is one more screen. Sir, figure matching. But you ask the question, previous screen figure is not matching. No, see, this is the screen you have to see. How do you know that is the screen you have to see? So, very important to understand the inherent risks of working with a computerized environment. There are ways and means to ensure that what the data or the records that you are seeing are the ones which you should be seeing. And that is where you have to understand the concept of value date and run date. Run date, 31st of March, I can run any number of times till today, till the date you sign. Of course, that's not happening now, but typically that's technically possible. So the run date of any return that you get in your hand to audit, or any document that you get to audit, is one of the key identifiers. Even if, let us say, you cannot find out all that, at least you make sure you get signed returns from the branch, because that is a minimum kind of thing that you can have. So everything comes from the CBS, if you see. And CBS, if you go and ask the bank, sir, what all software do you use? Everything comes from CBS, sir. Your mobile banking of the same bank, is it CBS? It's a mobile banking app. It is integrated into the CBS. So please understand, the origin of the transactions happens there. All the internal controls with regard to appraisal, all the questions in LFAR could actually be happening there. You go to any bank today, you go online, I think you know that by giving your data, you can get a loan sanctioned, yes or no? You can do that now. How does it happen? Does it happen on CBS? No, it happens over an internet banking CRM software, customer relationship management software. So all that happens there. And that feeds into the CBS, because CBS is the foundation of this entire thing, wherein you have the GL running. And the GL feeds your figures into the financial statement. So this much logic we must have, but we have to look at some of the attention items here. Number one, if you see at the top, It is not only an audit today of merely numbers, it is also an audit of internal controls. I think RBI has made it more than effectively clear. And our LFAR questions, all of them, if you see, relate to internal audit, internal control, right? Two, look at these statements and returns. They could be either branch level generated, that is many returns. See, it all depends. Please understand, you could get a public sector bank for audit. You may also go for a private sector bank for audit. You could go into one of the new age banks for audit. Each of them, the technology, the business profile is entirely different. And unless and until you grasp that, do you think we can look at internal controls? We cannot. So it's very important to understand that either the returns that are being produced for our audit could be generated at the branch, Finacle, CBS, some of them offer that, but many of them have been moved now to a data cell, wherein all returns get generated. Even if you ask him, sir, it has not come from head office. That's what they'll tell you. Why you can't generate it here? Because they will not have access. See, the report server, if you go and ask for one report, it will come next to next day, provided they are on the job. Why? Because there is so much of less resources provided for all this. That's a big problem with that. So you have to be very, cautious, take into consideration these facts. There could be HO system through which these returns are generated and sent. The third is, of course, some returns you still know are manually written. Certificates, some of them are still manually written. So we have to be cautious about what is the source of the inputs. Then look at automation of processes. Now there are so many modules, etc. there. It is not necessarily that each and every module is completely automated, not necessary. Because the point is that there could be several operational factors where things like margin money, etc. lie, which may not be automated through the system. It may be automated at a different level. So we have to be cautious about this fact. And a very important problem, as I said earlier, there could be system like CRM, we call it channels. Channel is nothing but counter is a channel. Mobile banking is a channel, internet banking is a channel, all of them are channels. So each of these channels would integrate the transactions into the core banking system. They are supposed to, as per RBI. Because that's why the question in your LFAR today is, do you find any areas of issues with integration of systems? You have to comment upon that this time. I'm quite surprised with that kind of, requirement today. So which means, now imagine how you'd go and audit this. How do you go and audit Jilani committee and you know that how it happens, right? I don't want to say that. But the point really is, the only thing you will find is, first of all, what is this integration? What is the impact of integration on accounts? Whom should I go and ask? The only person who is available to you is the bank manager or the credit fellow. You'll go and say, what are all system integrated? What is the answer you will get? Sir, ella integrated. You ask him how it is integrated. That I don't know, sir. Data cell, data center. So please, you have to spend little time, especially given the fact this is your audit deliverable that you are delivering. Please understand. I'm sure you know this joke of foundation weak, building strong. It's supposed to be, especially in Tamil, a vadivel joke, they call it. So the foundation of all this lies in your data systems, which churns all this out. So this is your building. If your foundation is weak, what will happen to the output? Obviously, it is going to suffer. So please understand, all this gets generated at that layer, and all these layers contribute to that. Is this clear now? So we have to keep this in mind so that we ask for the right source of data. Right. Now, relook at the auditor's job typically. See, if you really look at it, I mean, this is what, balance sheet, profit, loss and cash flow. But these are the statements we are making. Now, earlier it was you ask your article clerk to change the date, at least profit to loss, that fellow generally forgets. Then while signing only you realize, or head office will say, sir, profit branch you put loss. Oh, there's a previous year. Same thing, you took the same work, Word file. But today you know what RBI is doing, right? The auditors can be quite seriously held negligent for several aspects. So let's be conscious about what we are saying here in the report. All necessary information explanations for the audit have been obtained and are satisfactory. First of all, when we obtain this, we obtained it orally, right? Please have a system of making sure you put all this in an Excel sheet and then send it out to them so that whatever they have not given, you have a working paper which tells you that this is not given. Otherwise, it never gets recorded. Then statements show true and fair view of the affairs. You know, this is the most dangerous statement that we make anywhere, right? In compliance with the applicable accounting standards, right? At a branch level. How much of leeway do you have on that? Not really much. You think the system implements it, but yet we are responsible to make sure that's happening. Transactions are within branch powers. How do we check this? How do we check this? Sorry, sir? Where is it? Earlier, in the top of the page, there will be one circular and they will say for this particular account, this is the DP, this is the margin, this is this, and this is the sanctioning limit, this is the person's sanction powers, etc. Now, how do you know that a particular sanction that has been actually made by the person who is authorized as per the policy? It is all embedded in the system. So I can actually make my junior most employee also sanction a loan or modify a loan, give him modification power for a certain period, and before he comes for audit, change it back. It's not easily doable, but as part of our branch audit, don't you think we must ask for what is the configuration of branch powers within the system? Yes or no? So please understand that's another important aspect. Of course, returns are adequate. I really don't know whether this is a statement we should really vouch for, because what is adequacy? If the forms that are given there with the columns are complete, is it adequate? Or do you have to go back to Banking Regulation Act, RBI requirement, and say whether these forms are complete? I leave it to you. And Gupta sir was saying, what we write in our, now all this is part of your audit report, right? So what are you saying here? We have done blah, 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 all these procedures, including the assessment of risks and material misstatement of financial statement, whether due to fraud or error. What is the working paper for this? Then go ahead. If you see, sorry. If you take all this, I'll just dive down to the specifics now. First of all, today's audit of any entity, I'm sure you will understand, you cannot start without knowing the entity reasonably well. I hope you will all agree. So number one is knowledge of the business profile of the branch, because that is what will determine what modules are in use at the branch and which parts of the branch. For example, you could have specialized branches which could come in there. Then knowledge of the business processes, because certain things could be automated in a particular fashion. Then underlying levels of automation and business processes. In some cases, it is quite possible, which we'll discuss, that certain aspects are not automated. Internal controls embedded in the IT environment and how they work. Right? So all this becomes part of our work today, and know that all your branch applications and how it is being used and how to use them for our work. So you could be allotted specialized branches. Believe me, the first year, generally, you get these audits from a similar bank for 3 years generally, right? So you have to now make sure the first year is spent significantly on this permanent documentation, as we used to say, right? Because unless and until we do this thoroughly and build that out, we may not have a strong basis of whatever opinion we did it, right? So for example, all these branches, each of them, the software component is different, right? The way that it integrates is different. The powers of that particular unit are different. So we have to be mindful of these. So now let us put this in a little bit of detailing, next level detailing, so that we go closer to the core banking system. So please understand, how does it work? See, this is where we are, isn't it? What are we looking at? Balance sheet, profit and loss account, right? All the returns, schedules, right? That's what we look at here. How is it getting generated? Obviously somewhere from the accounts. Right? Everything has a linkage to the accounts, and information which cannot be found directly in the accounts will be connected into the core banking system, security value, etc., right? So if you see this, there is a very close connection of where this data is coming from, and if that is not available in the core banking system, that would be available in the supplemental systems like the CRM, which I told you. So those configurations also matter there. And if you see all this, look at the inputs where it is coming from. branch counter. Channels means there are about 12 channels available in India today. It starts from branch counter, internet banking, mobile banking, QR code banking, your USSD banking, REF, NEFT, RTGS, right? So there are 12 odd channels through which this can happen. So you put through all those transactions to different channels, which hits here somewhere. Ultimately, it does hit the accounts, isn't it? There has to hit. So this is the foundation of this, and this is where, if you see in the bottom, the internal controls, the credit policy logic, everything has to be embedded in the system, including RBI directions. So you can imagine, if the configuration is wrong, I don't need to tell you, all systems are GIGO. What is it? That's all we know, isn't it? So that is where the more responsibility for us is. It is the most unintelligent piece on the planet, right? Because whatever garbage you give, it will churn it and say this is what it is. Even in machine learning, if you teach the kid wrong things, you say no, debit what goes out, credit what comes in, it will say, oh, do it, no problem, isn't it? What you teach is what it does. So all this, please understand, is a fundamental what we call as inherent risk in the systems. So this area marked in red is where LFAR today asks you as branch auditors to specifically comment upon. So typical, CBS modules are something, they call it products, isn't it? So you have all these things like that's core. Then you have retail products. Then you have clearing, collections, etc., etc. Then you have the GL, again the core, right? Then the reports and queries. Then you have all these capabilities which are available there, right? I'm just giving some examples. But if you want to really go a little more complex, well, little complex from there, please see on your left-hand side is the channels like branch, extension, counter, telebanking, mobile banking, etc., etc. So all these originate the transactions. That comes where? That comes into the customer interface, into the initial interface. What does it happens there? If you see this, the application interfaces like RTGS, NEFT, payment systems, and all this comes in that particular layer. And how does the transaction get put through right into this? This is where the core lies, right? You got trade finance module, customer products module, CRM module, etc., etc. All these now are configured with your credit policy rules, credit appraisal rules, monitoring rules. Everything is configured there, right? So if you see this, all this is what is leading into that thing called as the GL or the MIS, which is the foundation of whatever we are doing. So let us please understand, while GL is the fulcrum of our audit, but it comes from the entire gamut of these applications. And of course, you have got various other applications which will be integrated into that loosely, like fixed management or treasury management, etc., etc. So this is how any core banking system will work. In India, the first two, TCS and FlexCube, take away almost about 60 to 70% of the market. Then there are others like, of course, Finacle has now a smaller market as compared to earlier. Earlier it had a bigger market, now it a smaller market. And there are some SAP and Involute, and some of them are there, but very few. But whatever be the CBS, architecture is the same, right? Does it help? Okay. Then make it next level complexity. This is how a truly core banking suite works. This is Oracle FlexCube, right? If you see this, you will see the business modules there, right? You see that there? Yeah? Retail, microfinance, trade finance, all that will come in there. Please be wary of the fact that this year is a landmark year in so many different ways. Why? Number one, the LFIR has undergone a change. That itself is a landmark after 1983. Two, last year, I think it was September 2020, the RBI has given a mandate that all IRAC computation must be automated within the CBS. This was a big organized fraud, I would think it was happening. How many of us have ever gone to the previous NPA date and checked it? Already something has become substandard last year. How many of us have gone and checked the NPA date? Very few of us used to do that. Very few of us used to do that, isn't it? Because we take it, NPA is there, last year auditor has seen. After the last year auditor, whom has changed the NPA date? If not, how do we know? And this kind of, what you call, I don't know what to call it, has been going on, adjustment. Like transferring to this asset recovery was one example, This is a fraud, isn't it? Okay. So please understand that each of these deals with configuration sets, which is what is of extremely important to us. Please see this. These are all what is how the system really works, and this is where a focus need to be. Earlier we used to do voucher audit, isn't it? We have to take the voucher, we look at it, do blah blah blah. But we know that almost 80% of the work at the branch audit is advances audit, isn't it? But in advances audit also, how do we look at it? See, today, most of your work is within the core banking system and the documentation files are outside the core banking system. Correct? Because we still cannot automate documentation. In the sense, you have to automate the information of the documentation, but legally, you cannot now put through an agreement electronically. That is not permitted yet. Right. So, if you really look at this entire way, how it is done, all the information, because please understand, for IRAC, the security information is very important. Whatever I feed into the system, it is accordingly classified. So that is where we need to be very, very careful about how each of these key aspects which run this business are embedded in the system. For example, business rules, credit policy, how credit policy rules are configured within the system. Number 2, powers, what we call as delegation of authority matrix or branch powers. So all that again comes out of the CBS or apps. Then maker checker controls, which are again configured in the system. Don't be surprised. I don't know how many of you have seen any one-man branch audits. It's called as one-man branch. One-man branch means the manager himself has rights. It's a small branch where you have very less staff. Those are highly dangerous from a CBS point of view because the same person is like the king. He has access to several aspects of maker checker with regard to the various operations of the branch. So very important to really look up that. How do I look this up now? Now, we will discuss that in detail as we go by, but let us please classify ourselves into 3 as we did earlier. Some of us, we are system agnostic. We say, no, system means allergy. Now, I can understand an elderly person who has been in practice and he has allergy to systems. But if you are young and are allergic to systems, God bless you. Right? What can elders do? Take partner with the young. See, on the other hand, you are the tech savvy guys, right? The problem with them is they want to do everything through PC. So you have to tell them, stop, this is available as a document. Why don't you put it inside no point? So you have to have a balance clearly between collaborating all your skills across for a branch audit today and working together. Otherwise, it's extremely important, difficult to really work. Please look at this. Maker checker controls are within that. There you will find as part of the core module a configuration which is viewable at the branch level to say who has what level of powers in the branch with regard to the operations in the CBS. And if you are able to look at it and audit it, you can get it very fine. Right? So that is what will be a very important aspect as well. Then MAS for decision making, how it is configured. Can somebody tamper with the values in the MIS, which goes to the HO? That's the reason there is a specific question this time, saying that all the MIS that goes to HO, because there is a lot of very, very elegant fudging that has been going on apparently. So that is where it is becoming, very important to see that these are, the CBS has been taken for a ride, honestly speaking. Then of course, exception reports, monitoring, early warning generated from CBS, all this again are internal controls which are part of our work today. Now, how to go about planning the branch audit? First of all, I'm sure you will be mindful of all our institute standards which apply. This is the auditing standard which says identifying, assessing risk of material misstatement, and it clearly tells out whatever I said, that you have to make sure that you are very conversant with that. There are also some key directions from RBI which are impacting, these are only from the system side, which are impacting our branch audit in a significant manner. Please see this. One is on digital payment security. Digital payments in the pandemic period has gone up by almost 4 times, which is huge for a country like this because the digital push was not really happening before. Now it is working, right? If you see, in fact, during this pandemic time, 9 out of 10 mobiles which have been brought in tier 2, tier 3 cities, they access vernacular language, of course, but many of them, they are now downloading digital banking apps, which is a very, very positive thing, honestly speaking, right? Then look at the second one, risk-based internal audit, February 21. This gives specific requirements on how the risk-based internal audit in a bank should be run. And that, I'm sure you know, is part of your reports that you get as part of the stat audit. Then, last but not the least, is automation of income recognition, asset classification, provisioning, etc., which is the September 2020 direction which has come in there. So, which clearly says that no manual intervention is permitted as part of IRAC classification, and everything should be within CBS. See what these banks used to do, even I'm sure you earlier you would have seen, there will be mismatch between, I mean, this will give us heart attack many times. There will be suddenly you check one random value. There will be mismatch between the IRAC return and the what is the value appearing there. You say how this is happening, same software. Yeah, everything CBS, that's what he will tell you. You ask the data officer, they say no sir, for IRAC because this was not, this CBS did not provide us all capabilities, so we have a separate software which is written. And this data is ported there, and after that, Bhagavan Malik, no. Because after that, what goes on through this software, somebody has to audit it. Now you are relying upon those returns here. So that is where very important they have said this. So what are the first steps to do a CBS audit? Let us first please understand, number one, the business criticality of depending upon the nature of business of the branch and the systems has to be understood. That's the first starting point. Two, look at the computerized systems, the maturity, and understand. There is a major development which has happened in 2019-20. What has happened? 10 public sector banks have been merged. So when you go to, let us say, Oriental Bank of Commerce, there will be one Oriental Bank system, which CBS, which is working, possibly at the branch, and also another one, which is of the merged bank, which is working. Now you ask them, is it integrated? Because the rollout date is 1st April 2021. It is integrated. This will be integrated. Obviously, other one would not be integrated because the idea is that goes through a different process. But the audit, if you have to find the base records, you have to still go back to the old system. So we have to be mindful about this, because when the integration does not happen, it is a big disconnect, like between the subschedule and the balance sheet. Right? So that is where you have to understand the risk inherent to the computerized information systems. Then always how to understand something very simple. First of all, I know that you will be pushed for time. So they'll tell you, sir, finish it yesterday, as you're saying, right? Point is, if you fall for that, obviously you are going to compromise with your audit risk. So please be very clear that you don't yield to that. You start your audit sufficiently early. The day you get that, you go and sit at the branch. Doesn't matter. You simply go through the systems. Believe me, once you start walking through the system, it is no rocket science. Any chartered accountant with the head over shoulders can very easily get it. There will be the staff to anyway help you out. So please don't worry about that. Once you know how, once you get the rhythm, no, then it's very easy. I'm sure many of you are doing through CBS audits, yes? Yeah. So I'm sure you found it's not very difficult, no? In fact, you will find that a job becomes half as workload specific as earlier, because many of the exception reports which you want for your work are straight away available there. You don't even have to work anything on that. Only thing is the branch staff will not know it. So that is where you have to just take the help of the data center staff or the nodal officer to get a list of all the exception returns, and that is required as per LFIR this time. LFIR now requires you to comment upon saying, is there a method in the branch of going through all the exception reports and actioning of them? If there is not actioned, you have to raise a comment. Right? So that again is important. Of course, like any other audit, IFC, design and operating effectiveness, you have to see. You have to test for internal controls enforced by the application. Every automated transaction, for example, you anyway have to go through large advances. Right? Large advances, please make sure that at least you take one advance as a partner of the firm along with your team and walk through this entire process from what we call as cradle to grave walkthrough. Nothing but from the origination of the loan till it goes into the GL. You will be surprised that it is not so very complicated. Everything you will see, oh, okay, this is how it is configured, this is how it works. And if you simply just ask questions which your auditors are used to, you will get the answers. It's not very difficult. First time you do it, only the first year you have to struggle a little bit. For the next year, you know what it is, but of course, make sure your working papers are there and a team is trained, right? So that is what you need to do. And then, of course, we will not look at security because fortunately that has been removed. But if you observe any security lapse in the system, for example, they tell you, sir, CBS is down, therefore we cannot give you GL, we cannot give you, whatever. Please make a note of it, where they are not supposed to be down, right? I'm going to skip for want of time, but these are the myths that many of us carry. First, we think this statement is generated by the computer, hence no signature is required. We take that for granted. Now, then you can say these accounts are, computer, audited by system, no signature is required. And that cannot happen, no? So please understand, number one, inherent system controls are taken for granted, like we think everything is automated. Just because you get a computer printed sheet, don't think that it is automated. They would have fed in a direct GL entry and simply updated a balance. Because there will be some system issue. Reconciliations are a bane for the banking. You just cannot ignore that. So that is where please be cautious about it too. Because it is computer, it will be always accurate. Please don't be under that. That's the reason as part of our work, where earlier we used, out of 100 accounts, we would select, let us say, 20 accounts to do calculation, right? That's how we used to do. We have to now select one large advance. You thoroughly go through this entire thing and see that the computation independently on Excel sheet and this is matching. You will be surprised in many cases, it doesn't match. I'll tell you why. Okay. Then system applies controls as per bank policies, configuration. Systems are integrated. These are all assumed, right? Then correct application of standing values such as interest rates, because we think that system means interest rate will be correct. You know how much they play around with this interest rate? See, the slabs of interest rates are based upon credit rating, right? How do they get credit rating into CBS? We think that is integrated from CIBIL system. Not necessary. Some fellow will key in the value there. You know when they will key in? There will be head office instruction saying that, okay, you give this 14%. Because it doesn't match the value. So like balance sheet to trial balance, this fellow will now work back. Put some value there because nobody sees it. So please be mindful of these things because that can determine that a lower interest rate for an undeserving borrower has been given. So those kind of things is where these interest rates also come in. No unauthorized transaction would be put through is the general, belief. Absolutely not. If it is a direct GL capability, you can put through unauthorized transactions as well. Then IRAC classification provision is system generated, hence correct. No trust in computers, please, right? Then, trust, but only after verification. And data is available wherever needed. Then you will say, no, sir, that field we are not feeding into the system. Imagine the headache you will go through, right? Because that will be the field which is important for your IRAC classification. And that will not come out of your statements. So imagine you have to go through the picking out the entire data. It can be very, very strenuous. So trust, but not without verification. So how do we really go about? I think this time, of course, RBI themselves have pointed out several aspects, but let me just give you some highlights on this. Whenever your appointment is received, by that time, right from today, you start working on your audit program. You make this audit program template once, it will serve you for a lifetime with, of course, modifications there and then. Because imagine your entire team gets to do this. There is so much of learning that happens, number one. You take the previous audit file and start building your audit program. It will ensure that your audit risk is brought down by almost 80%, believe me. You will see that happening because the entire team is woven onto that. Number two, always once you receive the appointment, have a standard email ready, asking them about what all locations is operator attached to the bank. They'll say link branches, right? Or extension branches. When this will come up? After you sign. Well, sir, we got 2 link branches there. Link branches, huh? So please make sure you get all that because these can be very, very risky. 2, what applications do you use? Always you should understand how bank managers deal with you, right? If you have a conversation with them. What will they tell you? Reassurance, 100%. Yes, sir, pakkavagide. Give it in writing. It's almost correct. Language will change. So please get this in writing. Have specific questions and say, what are the applications? What integrations have happened during the year? And that is where you will get all this, information which you otherwise would not get. Digital banking channels, what do you operate and how does it integrate into your, what kind of customers? Because HNI individual, virtual cards will be there. Virtual cards is always run by a vendor. 100% reconciliation problem, I can tell you. And virtual cards are highly risky. You can understand, right? Clearing and settlement systems, outsourced functions. Then previous year auditors, always make sure you have this standard. We don't generally send out these NOCs, but make sure we are sending out the NOCs with a clear conversation with the auditor. I mean, the first thing is we need to be close together now, right? So you contact the other person. See, if you ask him in writing, he will not tell you everything, isn't it? You tell him what was your experience, he'll tell you, Ayyo, at least you can factor all that in here, right? And that is where you can also get how much they suffered with the system. Then, of course, ask for the unaudited BSPL and the schedules at whatever status they are in right on day one. So that you will get a very clear planning related requirement of how to go about, right? List of audit and non-audit returns. It is generally available. Previous year balance sheet, profit account, all this I don't need to tell you, right? All this if you get in advance, it will help you to do a lot of preparation, right? CBS and other software in use, which I already said. List of large advances as per new definition, right? So make sure that you get it because you can build it as part of your work paper and say, because now you have to give list of all the advances you have verified. So that it can help you there. And then, of course, all your exception reports, what they are using. So, I'm not going to that, but please, as part of your opening letter, also ask for all these requirements, which are now you are required to ask as per LFIR. These are specifically listed down in LFIR, right? Previous year's branch audit report, internal audit report, concurrent audit report, SNAP audit report, credit audit, all these reports and what action has been taken, ATR on each of them, right? And I would again and again insist every year, this opening meeting, please have a formal opening meeting. Not, of course, generally we all are used to that informal opening meeting. Where is you from? Where is your native? All that will happen through that. After you said, say, now we are recording this meeting, we'll require a minutes on the signature. Then you see how the meeting turns out to be, right? And you ask these questions. First of all, credit head, depending upon size of branch, right? All the heads must be present. You make it a formal meeting. And please get this information out. What are the changes to the accounting system, IT landscape in this branch? They will double check and tell you every information, right? Problems and issues during the last year, last to last. That will give you a very good insight into which systems have misbehaved, whether frauds have happened or not, because we are going to ask information on frauds also. Frauds and the modus. What are the system special issues with regard to ATM, RTGS? I'm telling you that many banks have suffered with check truncation last year because there has been a huge rollout, but there have been issues. Many of them are still running in suspense. So you have to be mindful of this, saying that, okay, these channels could be in suspense, and many of them, we always take it, okay, as on 31st, it is tallied. It is only apparently tallied because it is again transferred back to office account or whatever, and is brought back again, which is a typical usual thing that they do. So we have to be mindful of these things, because that tells us the state of this. And always, any critical information exchange that you want to have with the branch, put it in writing. Don't do WhatsApp. It's so damn used to this WhatsApp thing that, very difficult to really get out of that habit. So audit challenges that you will face, of course, this revised LFIR itself is a challenge, right? Because the number of days, I think Gupta sir was very, very kind to say 2 more days. I don't think we'll finish in 2 more days. Because if you look at it, you cannot simply say, no issues found. All that will not work, right? These are the 10 accounts I have seen. These aspects I have seen. And in these 10 aspects, I have not found anything. So you have to have work papers for that, right? Availability of all exception reports. See, you know that when you go and ask See, you are sitting there at the branch and you ask for a particular set of reports. Credit officer or one of these officers will be helping you. What will they say? E kottini, sir. And that E, you don't know when it comes. Because then after 2 days, you say, what happened to that? I'll get it, sir. No. You please put it in writing. And you say, this is the by date, you have to give it to me. Otherwise, audit will extend. So a very valid reason of extending the audit. Right? Then auditors need, obviously now this checking for data integrity is a big challenge. In fact, data integrity, I'll tell you about the parameter audit, which is a very important part of it. Then getting the information from the data, I told you how to do that, but that's generally a problem. Then there could be branches wherein the documentation is not there. They may say, sir, it is in central cell. It will be recorded in the system saying that documents available with so and so. What would you think? We need not get it? We have to get it. And they are obliged to give it to us, right? Otherwise, we have a problem. So make sure that if the system says that the documentation available somewhere, please make sure it is got down. Today, in any audit, I don't need to tell you, spreadsheet is a must-have audit tool. You need not go for ACL, IDEA, all that is not required. If you have a humble spreadsheet, you can do marvels with that spreadsheet. I can tell you that much. Today, there are tools like Power BI, which is free, right? I would think youngsters, anybody using Power BI? No? Oh, you should. It's a lovely tool, right? So when you use all those tools, it's very easy. It's not very difficult to learn also. The skills that you would need are, I think you should have at least one, depending upon the size of the branch, 1 or 2 members who should be reasonably conversant with working in CBS environments, because that I think is important, and how to extract data. So this would certainly help. So how do you really adapt to these techniques? I would think, see, these are of course things I don't want to go into, but I'll explain certain aspects of it as we go by. These are the challenges we'll face. How to know that the source of or the systems which bring in the data into heads of account. How do you recognize that? Very simple. You take the heads of account and do a mapping sitting with that particular officer. Now, before that, you have to tell him very clearly, sir, I understand everything comes from CBS, but I want the origination system. And what control you have over the origination system. Generally, the branch should not have control. But the internal controls are configured there. If you are able to see, inspect that internal controls, excellent. If not, please state it specifically that this is controlled at head office and we are unable to check this at the branch level. You have to state it in LFIR to say that you are not able to do it. Otherwise, it is your responsibility per se. And this big question always comes up. Do I need to learn the entire CBS? To drive a car, you don't need to learn car technology. You just need to know driving. So that is how much of knowledge you should have for the CBS and apps. How to perform the system configuration audit. This, I would think, is the heart of the entire CBS audit today. What is called as parameter audit or system configuration audit or whatever you want to call it. But the simple matter is that is what even RBI has insisted again and again as part of that. I'll talk about it later. Very important also you need to know is how to use the core banking reports from the bank, how to identify system control issues. So because this is the questions that have been asked, and this is a big challenge, as I said. I am a veteran CA, I am not very conversant with PC, please join hands with juniors. That's the only way. Even if you have little bit interest, make the officer sit with you and teach you, doesn't matter, because you only need to be taught what reports, how to take, that's all, right? That can be done, it's not very difficult. But if you are computer agnostic, youngster yet, no, I am afraid of computers, then you have a psychology problem to handle. Because then your survival is a problem then, right? So you must, if you have to be an auditor in the future, you have no choice but to have reasonable systems knowledge, right? 3, if you're tech savvy auditors, that's great, but you have word of caution. We have generally seen some of our youngsters who are so damn tech savvy, they want to do everything through the system. Take notes, 1 minute, WhatsApp. Take notes. So you have to kind of tell them that, where to stop also. Because otherwise, problem will be when he leaves the firm, you cannot understand where he has got the data from, where he has stored it, how he has done it. So too much of tech is also sometimes a danger. I am not discouraging tech. Okay, how do you map the assertions? As I said, I already explained. I'll not go into the details of this, but just to say, you take the GL heads or the all your heads and see from where, which system this origination things are coming. Popular CPS I already spoken about. Param audit is Paramatma for bank audit, because this, if you can do well, I'm telling you, half your risk is gone, right? So masters are the foundation. Please always make sure that you understand how these product masters work, how the customer masters work. Because, for example, if I treat you as part of borrower group, where is it recorded? In the master. And please understand, in a bank, across the bank, you will have only one cust ID, but multiple accounts. I think that much you understand, right? So you have to understand, if you simply pick up a report at the customer level, even one account is NPA, you will get to know immediately, right? Similarly, today what RBI is now pushing for, possibly from next year, across India, every customer in the banking system can have only one cust ID. You know what is the big problem that you will face in merged branches? I'm telling you, yeah, this fellow will have one customer ID here, one customer ID. How will you reconcile? It's a big payment. He has accounts in both. One bill would have turned substandard. So please understand that this if correct. If you can, yeah, that is the only way to do it, actually speaking. You have to run a report. Either most of these reports are available within the CBS in your access, or simply don't think twice. Call up the nodal officer and ask him for help. It is his job to help you out. It is his job to help you out. And that's the reason the central statutory auditors, they will introduce the nodal officer. You have to make sure, please don't let him sit quietly, right? Give him some work. Then this employee user master, because I'm telling you, you will have employees with 2 IDs. We have seen that. Because he migrated from another thing, he'll be in 2 IDs. One is dormant. Please raise those issues, right? Similarly, powers of these employees, what profile they have been allocated. Then, of course, password control generally is not at the branch level, but you have to be mindful of the fact, if senior officers who have access to sensitive capabilities like SWIFT, whether they have multi-factor authentication for that system or not. What is it? OTP, right? Something of that sort. Because otherwise, see, like the PNB fraud, anybody was able to access the system, put through transactions. So there should be a two-factor authentication, multi-factor authentication, which should be available. Similarly, customer account memo maintenance, rates and service charges, and a lot of reports which I'll talk about later also. So what gets ignored, as I said, please understand that all these banking powers we talk about are configured within the system, which you can see and audit, which you simply take one report, compare it with the branch powers, it will be in the handbook. What is the branch powers? That much if you simply compare, that job is done, because then your first statement that you make in your audit report saying all transactions within branch power is audited, right? Then configuration of credit policy application and internal control, this is a tedious job, but it is a very, very nice job, because you'll be able to understand the correlation between all this and how system works. And in the first year, if you understand it, second year, I am telling you, you will do wonders. My junior guys, when they go to the second time for a bank audit, I am surprised at what all they achieve with this para, because they understood that first level of how these things relate to each other. So that is something which has to be done with regard to margin money, penal interest application, for example, right? All those aspects, how it is applied, you have to be very, very careful about how it is configured. I'll tell you why we have to be so careful, right? Authorization controls, like, for example, the branch manager has to authorize. The authorization happens only through his ID. And in the report that you take out, it will be recorded maker ID, checker ID. Please be conscious of the fact whether the maker and checker ID in any of these sanctions is same. You know what is the problem then? Maker checker ID cannot be the same, right? So that immediately we should raise a issue with that. Then segregation of duty is the same thing. Understanding of the systems, I'll just skip this now. So term sheet is automated, interest, all these are standing values, right? Interest, fees, charges, margin, NPA provisioning, MIS. Now, there are 2 aspects to it. One is interest rate by itself. But you know that interest rate is as simple as that, right? There are bank PLR is there. Then there is what applies to this particular category. Then there is penal interest rates, right? Now each of them has a trigger. First of all, how it should be calculated, how compounded, right? Then two, moratorium period calculation. See, there will be problem with configuration of the days, holiday, whether to take or not, right? That has to be configured in the system. If you are having, let us say, 100 crore advance, 1 day interest is missed. So you can imagine what it means, right? So these things are run by the system. Therefore, that becomes very important for us to be mindful of these parameter values. This is an example of a CBS screen. I'm not sure if you're able to see. Do you see that thing on the corner? I'm not sure if you're able to lead this. Compounding rate method. Yeah? Maybe too hazy. Yeah. Imagine if I select this wrongly, instead of, let us say, I'm just saying, if the credit policy says daily compounding, and you're selecting monthly compounding, you know what will happen, right? Now, how many records will be applied for? Across all. See, that is the beauty with the parameter setting. That is why it is Paramatma. If one thing goes wrong, everything goes wrong, right? Similarly, if you see this value here, I'm not sure if you're able to read this, interest accrual frequency for regular interest and penal interest. Invariably, this is either erroneously done or fudged, right? So it will be very, very easy for them to go through and bypass this value. So please be mindful. This is what is again part of the parameter audit, right? Loan type, what it will be applied, what kind of parameters should be applied. I think I have to now close. Okay, actually, I just wanted to tell you, these are all master parameters. If you go through these screens, there is no rocket science here, yes? There is no rocket science here, isn't it? You are able to very clearly make out. See, for example, what is the maximum loan amount? Branch powers configured here, right? So all that you can see here, how, which areas it applies, what is the security value, everything is configurable here. Okay, how do you get your work through the CBS? First of all, if it is Finacle, unless and until you know Kulja CSAM, it is not going to open, right? So you must know the commands. Where to get the commands? It is available all over the internet. Even if not, you simply contact nodal officer. Please don't contact branch only, because branch will only know their operational codes. It will not help us. And always when you want access, ask in writing for a read-only access. Whether they give you full access, that is their problem. At least you put it in mail. Please issue us a read-only access. Whatever number of access you want. So that you get a complete access across, which is only read-only. So that you can, because many of this will not be available for most of the branch staff. In CBS systems like FlexCube or banks, it's all menu driven. So you should know which menu where to click, right? So that also again you can get it from the branch. Report extraction. I am telling you, as I said, first of all, please understand, exception tracking is not only our problem, it is branch's problem first, isn't it? So they will have reports ready. Only thing we have to ask, what is available at branch level, what is available at HO level for the same branch. You'll be able to see there are several reports which are readily available. Okay, all this, as I have told you, this is something you still have to do manually only. First of all, appraisal of the borrower in some cases is automated today, not in all cases, it is still manually. You'll have reams and reams of documentation, which, you will have to go through to answer the questions in LFAR. Document execution verification is manual, so that you can check separately. Security valuation existence is also manual. The values are fed into the system. So you have to take all large advances, go through the files and see that the value has been appropriately picked up from the latest applicable valuation certificate as per the norms, right? Then interpretation of business performance. Now they say 3-year balance sheet, 4-year balance sheet, audited, unaudited, and there are a lot of gray shades in between what is audited, what is unaudited. So all that, please see that these values actually get fed into the system for performance monitoring. So it is important that you at least see whether there are maker checker controls around that, so that these values are fed in properly, and take 1 or 2 samples and check them. Then fully forced reconciliations. Now what is forced reconciliation? You pass on direct GL entry and close it. right? So please be mindful of reconciliation. Again, I want to highlight is a very, very important aspect. And all direct GLs which are affecting unwanted accounts, please take a listing. Everything it is JB audit. You have to take a listing. Ideally, in a good bank, direct GL should be 0. You filter, you can ask them for the report, they'll give you one. If you take that all high value, please do audit. Don't leave it just like that, because I'm telling you, most of this back-end business happens there. Then anything that is circumventing system controls, see, appraisal will be available through the CBS. These fellows do it manually. And because the system does not make it mandatory, they will simply click and go. Or they'll fill in only certain fields which are mandatory. So all this shows loose ends, you can highlight as part of that system. This is another technique. See, how to set off against a due, right? What to set off first? That is configurable in the system. For example, if you see, these are all the parameters that can be set off against the amount that is received, right? Please see that on sequence, you see that? So that determines in what order it will be set off in the system. If you simply audit that, you will know how the system is setting up. You don't have to go about soul searching every account. No, you will know straight away, pick it up. I am telling you, if it is wrong, you have a laddu in your audit report, because imagine the quantum that you'll get out of it. Straight away, you can get an MOC entry. Okay, of course, these are all available, as I told you, different kind of commands. I'm not going to. How to use the system audit, CBS audit reports. Very important report that everybody must see is this change history reports. What is change history? Please see, for example, interest rate parameter. These interest rate parameter static? It's not static, keeps on changing, right? So then when it is changing, there is an effective date. Now, the date that they enter this change, is that effective date? No. That is why you should look for, in that interest change, value date. Value date is extremely important, because that is what is the effective date as per the system. Otherwise, you simply just upload, even if it is done on the same date of the circular, it will not take effect unless you put the value date in. So please ensure, with regard to all changes, you will have change history reports. Everything CBS will give you, margin percentage has been changed, or sanction amount has been changed. Everything it will give you a change report, and it will tell you who is the maker, who is the checker, and what is the value date, every information available. Simply take that, go through that once, look at all the high value items and just audit it. I'm telling you, you will find a lot of inputs, and that will solve a lot of problems, because imagine all the affected accounts, you can get it in a stroke. There is absolutely no problem. When you download a report, I'm sure how to take out a report, right? It will look like this, you get confused, oh my goodness, what to do with this. You simply do in an Excel, you just import it will come like this. I don't need to tell you all this. This is something you must have. And then you can do whatever you want with this. For example, you take this report. See, this is an exception report. You can do wonders with this. Believe me, just do a pivoting analysis. If you just know pivots, you can do magic with this data, right? You get so much of value that you can drive. Okay, audit of advances is a huge area. I think Suresh is here to speak on that, more on that. No, there is so much to speak. See, if that's what I'm saying, if for speaking about branch audit, we have so many hours. Imagine for doing a branch audit, how much time we require, right? Okay, so I think how to get large advances. First of all, ask them to generate to the system and send it to you right on the day of you receiving your appointment letter. You are obliged to do that, right? Because then you have sufficient time to prepare for that, right? Of course, you know that the template also, which we'll see later, right? And this is where it is RBI is demanding you to do. The transaction audit, account specific details to be seen and commented. This is the specific general instruction in LFAR, right? For all other advances, process to be audited. I think you know this time, you have to also comment upon standard advances. You know that, right? All standard advances also you have to comment upon. So this is the template. All these templates, one-time exercise, put your team together, ask them to work on a good audit workbook for a branch. You will have a pakka book which is ready for you, which you can apply and improve year on year. I'm telling you, we do that, it is wonderful. So we use macros and all, everything as part of that. It really works very well. Okay, then this is something. In parameters, some parameters are global. Did you understand what is global? Only head office can change it, right? For example, interest rate, bank, that is BPLR, prime lending rate, branch cannot change. Branch only has, with regard to products, a range which is permitted as part of the powers, and that is linked to a credit rating system, right? So that is at the branch level. Then you can have at the account level, teaser rate, this, that, for this particular kind of verticals. So all that comes in here. Then of course, NPA classification I talked about. These are some of the critical issues you must keep in mind when you are doing advances audit in LFAR. First of all, as I said, multiple customer ID. That is one fundamental problem, because that can change the complexion of a complete classification, right? Marking of group, borrower group, this is generally not done. They are supposed to follow a particular process and do it, right? So please make sure that is done. Customer credit score in CBS is not integrated. If it is not integrated through CIBIL, ICRA or whatever, please make sure it is commented upon, because the question to be asked is who feeds in these values? Because that is what will determine, isn't it? It should be generally not at the branch level. The sanctioning authority will not have access to that. It will have a different body which will feed in this data. Then term sheet, margin, moratorium, EMI, sanction date, drawing power, everything is something which we have to comment as per RBI requirement itself, like penal interest, charges, triggers, and this refacement, one-time extension. What all frauds have happened, God will know. Because see, everybody has in stress last year. So we have to expect that, especially these sensitive COVID-related, all these things would be, there's a problem. Renewal, I think enough has been spoken. From a system point of view, believe me, the system requires you to input data, and the state of the review or the renewal is recorded there, which is done at the HO or the controlling authority. It will get reflected there. You can simply take a list of all the account under review, which can be produced. This is a standard return is also available there, so that it can take it and audit that. Then this devolved bills being pushed through off-it account, all that is old fraud. So, this stock, debtor, creditor, WIP. You simply do a little bit of turnover analysis using Excel pivots. You will get lot of, exceptions to say how turnover is moving in one direction and the stock is moving in another direction. In most cases, the creditor will be nil. How is it possible? So all that can give you insights, especially in large advance cases. And project advances also, there are parameters which are prefixed and available in the CBS, which can also be done with. And I would think you must do this, do a trend analysis, ratio analysis, because all these are high level analysis based upon how interest expense is moving, how interest income is moving to the advances movement. If you simply do this correlation analysis, it will give you some insights that something is wrong here, right? So you can get that. Okay, of course, auditors give 5 adverse features and 5 top standard advances. So red flagged accounts. Okay, for lack of time, I'm just pushing through just to highlight. Yeah, this time as part of cash, specifically they included ATM cash verification. How to do ATM cash verification? Obviously, they'll open the ATM for you. Please don't sit and count, because the counter is there inside the ATM itself. So it will give you a journal log. Keep that as part of your audit record. That's enough. Of course, this is always a gray area after this PNB fraud, master account reconciliation, interbank, inter-office reconciliations. This is why reconciliations are so crucial to every branch audit, because please see, these are different systems which will go channels, core banking, non-core banking, all integrate into that. Now the problem is there will be some, for example, your RTGS NEFT, there is some technical reason by which a system may not, the advice on this may not match, right? So that similarly, every channel would have that problem. So please just look out for these recon reports, because that is again going to hit right across till there, right? So ask for all the recon status, and for example, simple thing like ATM cash suspense would be there. So all coming as part of LFAR mandate. They're already spoken in the morning, so I'm just keeping Mr. Shyam spoke about many of them. This is important. 2021, this is what they are specifically asking you as part of LFAR. They are asking whether there is any software, system, manual or otherwise used at the branch which are not integrated with CBS. How to find out? I said, I asked you to do the mapping, you remember? In the mapping, you will be able to very easily find out this, right? Once you do the mapping, you will find out this. 2, adverse features in IS audit reports. Some branches, specialized branches, may be subject to separate system audit. As a statutory auditor, now you are mandatorily required to go through the system audit report, and the action taken should be satisfactory. Then, generating and verifying and actioning on exception reports, manual intervention outside CBS. I mean, this is extremely important. Anything that is system which is outside CBS, or any action is put across manually, or some direct GL is passed, all that we have to comment upon. Then auditor to comment, this is what I said, auditor has to comment upon data integrity, including data entry, checking correctness, integrity of data, no backend, etc. How will you do this? When you walk through the advances, when you take sample transactions in every type of balance sheet item, you will be able to get this, because you are doing it, as I said, you are doing a cradle to grave walkthrough. You will clearly know, after all, we are auditors, we have done this so many times, you will clearly know where are the hits and misses. So you can highlight that. Okay, frauds, I think if there is a fraud, obviously I'm telling you, especially how the system has been gamed should be a focus. I mean, we have seen several cases wherein diversion of funds through clearing accounts put through, right? Fudging of the accounts through office accounts being put through. All that is very, very things you have seen at the branch level. So very important to do that. And if you are doing an overseas branch or a SWIFT, where SWIFT is operated, I think you have to be mindful of the issues that we faced there. One thing which I'm little not so happy, which could have been considered as part of new LFIR, is strike down these two. Because I don't know honestly how many auditors can even look at it. Tell me, you know how it happens, right? On the last day, they say, "Appa, ella seriya ka?" Okay. That's all you can do. Because what can you do with things like whether various tests are be carried out on EDP at the branch level? There's nothing applicable here. So I think this is something, RBI could have seen. I don't know why this was missed out. Reporting, very important this time. You have to report to the central statutory auditors, which is mandatory of LFIR, to comment on these items. Number 1, internal control issues like parameter configuration, integration, etc. Specific comments on advances, highlight the system exceptions, specific failure of processes and controls like IT dependency, bypassing, etc., etc., and ensure that you are reporting on internal controls. Be specific with examples. Don't make these statements, controls found to be weak. RBI is not going to spare you. They'll say, what weak? Give me example, right? So, in fact, our LFIR is being very clear with that. Clearly highlight system weaknesses and their impact on, if you have found that anything has impacted adversely any account, please mention it there. So, like application, configuration, interfaces, migration, all this could be part of that. And very important, very, very important, that please document all your work digitally. Why digitally? Because anyway you don't get much copies except those document copies, that is for the files, right? But rest of them, if you organize them well and keep it, let me tell you, these things come and hit us after a couple of years. And when they hit us, this is the only thing which will save us. And if you don't do that, it is a violation of the institute standards, right? So please see, you have digital work papers. Either there are a lot of software which are available. You use that, which has a lot of work papers which can, or simply just have a very good templated Excel sheet and folders. That itself will help you to do that, right? So if you do that, obviously make sure you have the right version of the documents, because somebody will be working, 3 people will be working on advanced Excel, advanced Excel 1, 2, 3, advanced Excel 1, 2, 3, 4, and with this date, that date. You don't know which one is final. See, the moment you sign, all this evaporates. Nobody will know what is happening. Then when problem comes, they'll say, this is not matching with this, I don't know which version he is using. So make sure before you close the audit, final versions are all put in respective folders, and the respective people who are making them give you the passwords. I have seen cases, one fellow securely logged it. At the time of income tax hearing, a password ledo. What do you do with that? You say, sir, no, sir, it is available, I can't take it out. Do you think the officer will entertain your So make sure that passwords, you have to password it, close it, but at the same time, make sure you have the passwords which are appropriately controlled. And conforming to AS, all these should be part of your work papers. And also the communication, as I said, don't have any WhatsApp. That's the reason I'm saying it is not part of recordable. Last but not the least, make sure it is available, properly labeled and backed up. You can have a cloud container, but encrypt it using a WinZip file, put a password around it, and store it safely in a proper identifiable folder. So key takeaways, I think this year is obviously a milestone year for us. Involvement of partners is a must now during this audit. Everybody needs to now go system. There is no choice. So CBS is going to be the tool which is going to save us in the future. So, and of course, I would think always great opportunity for your branch audit report to highlight the value of your audit and increase our digital auditing skills. End with my favorite quote from Bhagavan Ramana Maharishi, saying that your own self-realization is the greatest service you can render to the world. Thank you so much. I have to be rushing now. Any quick 1 or 2 questions, I don't know. Okay, thank you. You can always get in touch with me on this email address.
Thank you so much, CA, with for enlightening us on auditing of digital banking operation. So now I request our chairman, CA BT sir, to please come forward and present moment as a token of gratitude. Thank you once again, sir.